I thought I had found the one. Jasmine and I had been together for 3 wonderful years, building a life and planning our future. But then her friends started whispering poisonous ideas in her ear about opening our relationship and starting an OnlyFans account. I never expected that the woman I loved would be swayed by such toxic influence. Their betrayal led me down a path that ended with exposed secrets, shattered relationships, and unexpected brotherhood. Before I tell you how my girlfriend's toxic friends destroyed our relationship but led me to find real brotherhood, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from, and hit that subscribe button. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Chicago. My parents taught me the value of hard work and integrity, values I carried with me through college, where I studied computer science. After graduation, I landed a job as a software developer at a growing tech company. By 32, I had established myself professionally, bought a comfortable condo downtown, and felt ready for a meaningful relationship. I met Jasmine at my college roommate's wedding. She was 30, working as a marketing executive at a cosmetics company. Our eyes locked across the reception hall during the first dance, and by the end of the night we were inseparable. Jasmine had this infectious laugh and sharp wit that captivated me. We discovered a shared love for indie films, Thai food, and weekend hiking trips. Our relationship progressed naturally. After 6 months, we were saying "I love you." At the 1-year mark, we moved in together, combining our lives in my downtown condo with the view of Lake Michigan that she adored. We talked about marriage, children, and growing old together. I thought we were on the same page about everything important in life. Then there were her friends. Jasmine had a close-knit group of 4 women she had known since college. All of them were engaged to be married, and they met up regularly for what they called their sacred girls' nights. Sophia was the undisputed leader of the group. At 33, she worked in luxury real estate and always wore designer clothes and flawless makeup. She had a way of delivering backhanded compliments that left you feeling inadequate without being able to pinpoint why. Her fiancé, Brian, was a successful dermatologist who seemed completely devoted to her. Amanda came from old money but worked as an interior designer to maintain the appearance of independence. She was always the first to follow whatever trend Sophia endorsed. Her fiancé, Tyler, worked in finance and seemed perpetually stressed, often checking his phone during the few group gatherings I attended. Tara styled herself as the wild one. With her constantly changing hair color and provocative clothing, she made sure all eyes were on her in any room. She worked at a high-end boutique and was engaged to Mark, a laid-back contractor who appeared to worship the ground she walked on. Leah was the quietest of the group, but I always sensed calculation behind her reserved demeanor. She worked in digital marketing like Jasmine, and was engaged to James, a software engineer at a rival company to mine. He seemed like a decent guy the few times we had talked shop. I noticed the first changes in Jasmine after she returned from a weekend trip to Miami with her friends. She became protective of her phone, turning it face down when I entered the room, or taking it with her to the bathroom. She started making comments about the condo being too small, despite previously loving our space. She began questioning our future plans, suggesting we delay marriage to experience more of life. One evening, she casually mentioned how limiting traditional relationships could be. When I asked what prompted that thought, she vaguely referenced an article she had read, but I could tell there was more to it. Her shopping habits changed too. Suddenly, our modest lifestyle was not enough. She needed expensive clothes, luxury skincare, and weekend brunches, at places where the cost of avocado toast could feed a family of 4. We hosted a dinner party for her friends and their fiancés about 6 months ago. Throughout the evening, I caught snippets of conversation that made me uncomfortable. Sophia made a comment about how monogamy was an outdated concept designed to control women. Amanda laughed too loudly when Tara joked about men being replaceable. Leah watched me with a calculating gaze when she thought I was not looking. That night, after everyone had left, Jasmine seemed distant. When I asked if everything was okay, she said Sophia had pointed out that my views were quite traditional and wondered if I might be holding Jasmine back. I was stunned. We had always shared the same values, or so I thought. I went to bed feeling like something fundamental had shifted in our relationship, but I could not yet grasp what it was. Little did I know that the subtle changes I had observed were just the beginning. The foundation of trust that I believed our relationship was built on was about to crumble beneath my feet in ways I never could have imagined. It was a Tuesday morning when everything fell apart. Jasmine was in the shower getting ready for work, and I was making coffee in the kitchen. Her tablet chimed with an incoming message. I normally would never look at her private messages, but the tablet was open on the counter and I glimpsed the name Sophia along with the words, Make so much money on a site you showed me. My heart rate quickened as I glanced toward the bathroom door. The shower was still running. I told myself I was overreacting, but something compelled me to look closer. I tapped the screen, revealing a group chat between Jasmine and her 4 friends. What I saw shattered my world in an instant. Sophia had sent a screenshot of her OnlyFans earnings from the previous month, a 5-figure sum that made my eyes widen. What followed was a conversation encouraging Jasmine to start her own account. Sophia girl, you could make twice this with your body. What Armand does not know will not hurt him. Tara, best decision I ever made. Mark has no clue, and my savings account is loving it. Amanda Tyler is so boring in bed anyway. My side hustle and side guy keep me sane. Leah, just start with feet pics if you are nervous. James is clueless. Men are so stupid. Jasmine, I do not know. Armand is pretty observant. He would probably notice. Sophia, that is why we need to talk about opening up your relationship. Get him used to the idea that you need sexual freedom, but present it like it is for both of you. Then do whatever you want. Amanda worked for me. Tyler thinks we are open but has no idea how much I am really doing or earning. Tara, Mark is wrapped around my finger. I suggested opening up, and the poor guy thought it was his idea by the end of the conversation. Leah, James would never go for it, so I just do not tell him. Problem solved. Jasmine, I do not know if I can lie to Armand like that. Sophia, not lying, just exploring options. Financial freedom is empowerment. These men would control us forever if they could. The conversation continued with more detailed discussion of their secret accounts, the men they were meeting, and how they manipulated their fiancés. I felt physically ill as I scrolled through months of similar exchanges. The water shut off in the bathroom, and I quickly placed the tablet exactly as I had found it. My mind was reeling. These women who I had welcomed into our home, who were about to marry men they claimed to love, were living double lives. And they were trying to drag Jasmine into their web of lies. I tried to compose myself as Jasmine entered the kitchen wrapped in her towel, hair dripping on the tile floor. She smiled and kissed my cheek before pouring herself coffee. I could barely look at her. Did she already have an account I did not know about? Had she already cheated, or was she just considering it? I decided direct confrontation was the only approach. I am not someone who plays games or manipulates. Jasmine, we need to talk about the messages from your friends. I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Her face changed instantly. What messages, she asked, but her eyes darted to the tablet on the counter. The ones about starting an OnlyFans account and opening our relationship so you can cheat on me, I replied. Her expression morphed from shock to anger in seconds. You went through my private messages, she demanded completely, sidestepping the content of what I had discovered. The tablet was open on the counter. I saw Sophia's message come in about making money. But that is not the point, Jasmine. The point is your friends are cheating on their fiancés and encouraging you to do the same to me. She crossed her arms defensively. It is just conversations, Armand. Friends talk. It does not mean I was going to do anything. So you are not considering starting an OnlyFans or opening our relationship, I asked. Her hesitation told me everything I needed to know. It is my body, my choice, she finally said. And it is just content creation, not cheating. Content creation, I repeated incredulously. Your friends are explicitly talking about sleeping with other men and lying to their fiancés. You are being controlling and old-fashioned. She shot back, echoing the exact words her friends had used in their messages. People have different relationship structures now. Not everyone is stuck in the dark ages. We argued for hours. She missed work. I canceled my meetings. By afternoon, the truth had emerged in painful fragments. She had been considering their suggestions. She had already taken some photos, but not posted them yet. She had not cheated physically, but had been engaging in conversations with men online that crossed boundaries any reasonable person would consider inappropriate in a monogamous relationship. I need some space, I finally said. I am going to stay at a hotel for a few days. I need to think. Fine, go, she snapped, though I could see fear behind her anger now. Run away instead of discussing this like adults. I packed a bag while she texted furiously on her phone, no doubt updating her friends about our confrontation. As I headed for the door, she suddenly softened. Armand, wait. Maybe I got carried away with their ideas. We can talk about this. Do not leave. But the damage was done. I could not unhear her justifications or unfeel the betrayal. I needed clarity away from her influence. At the hotel, my phone exploded with messages from Jasmine alternating between angry accusations that I was controlling, tearful apologies, and manipulative statements. Like, if you really loved me, you would understand this is about financial independence. I turned off my phone and stared at the ceiling of my hotel room, wondering how I had missed the signs and where we could possibly go from here. After a sleepless night, I turned my phone back on to find 37 messages from Jasmine. Some were apologetic, others defensive. A few were threatening to end our relationship if I could not be more open-minded. It was emotional whiplash, and I recognized it as manipulation. 3 years together, and I had never seen this side of her. But something else bothered me even more than Jasmine's betrayal. The casual way her friends discussed deceiving the men they claimed to love made my stomach turn. These guys were about to commit their lives to women who were systematically lying to them. Did they deserve to know the truth? I decided to learn more about these toxic friends who had influenced Jasmine. Starting with social media, I dove into a digital investigation. What I discovered shocked me. Behind carefully curated public profiles lay secret accounts and damning evidence. Sophia, who presented herself as the perfect bride to be on her main Instagram, had a separate account under a slightly altered name where she posted suggestive teasers directing followers to her OnlyFans. She also had screenshots of conversations with multiple men arranging meetings. Amanda was less careful. Her secret Twitter account openly discussed her affairs and contained complaints about her fiancé Tyler. She mocked his trust and boasted about the gifts other men bought her. Tara had multiple secret accounts across platforms, each catering to different fetishes and audiences. The content progressively became more explicit and included clear images of her face. Leah was the most calculating. Her alternative accounts used partial face shots, but I found evidence of her arranging meetings with subscribers for extra money off platform. By pure coincidence, I discovered that James's cousin Kyle worked at my gym. During a conversation about relationships, without revealing what I knew, I mentioned Leah's name. Kyle immediately tensed and told me he had tried to warn James about her past. Apparently, Leah had a history of manipulating partners, including creating false accusations when relationships ended. The more I discovered, the clearer the pattern became. These women were not just making content online. They were living double lives, cheating on their partners and encouraging each other to lie and manipulate. And now they had targeted Jasmine, pulling her into their toxic web. I faced a moral dilemma. Should I tell these men what their fiancés were doing behind their backs? They were essentially strangers to me, but they were about to make life-altering decisions based on lies. If I were in their position, would I want to know? After days of internal debate, I decided the truth was more important than my discomfort. I compiled digital evidence for each woman, organizing it into separate files, with clear timestamps and context. I found contact information for each fiancé, and arranged to meet them individually away from their partners. Brian, Sophia's fiancé, was the first. We met at a coffee shop downtown during his lunch break. He was tall, well-dressed, and confident, a successful dermatologist with a thriving practice. His world collapsed as I gently presented the evidence of Sophia's double life. Initially disbelieving, then angry, he finally broke down in gratitude for the intervention before their wedding. Tyler, Amanda's fiancé, was next. The financial analyst had already suspected something was wrong but lacked proof. The color drained from his face as I showed him Amanda's secret accounts and messages mocking him. I will never forget how his hands trembled as he removed his engagement ring and placed it on the table between us. Mark, Tara's fiancé, reacted with stunned silence. The contractor sat motionless as I revealed his wild fiancé's extensive online activities and physical affairs. When he finally spoke, it was to thank me for saving him from a marriage built on lies. He had been completely blindsided, believing Tara's frequent nights out were innocent girls' nights. James, Leah's fiancé and fellow software engineer, was the most skeptical initially. He questioned my motives and the authenticity of my evidence. But when I mentioned what I had learned from his cousin Kyle, his resistance crumbled. He verified the information himself before thanking me for the intervention. Each man processed the information differently, but all four expressed the same sentiment: gratitude for learning the truth before making the biggest mistake of their lives. An unexpected bond formed between us, 5 men united by similar betrayals. We exchanged phone numbers and promised to check in on each other as we navigated the painful aftermath. Throughout this process, I maintained minimal contact with Jasmine, who alternated between desperate pleas for reconciliation and angry accusations. I needed to complete my mission of truth-telling before deciding what to do about our relationship. though in my heart I already knew it was over. The woman I had loved no longer existed in my eyes. Perhaps she never had. With all 4 fiancés informed, I prepared for my final conversation with Jasmine. I returned to our condo on a Sunday afternoon, bracing myself for what would be the most difficult discussion of my life. When I walked into our condo, Jasmine was sitting on the couch, surrounded by tissues, her eyes red and puffy. She looked up with a mixture of hope and fear when I entered. "Armand," she said, rushing toward me. "Everything is falling apart. Sophia and the others, their relationships are over. Their fiancés all found out somehow about their accounts and other activities." She collapsed against me, seeking comfort. I gently disentangled myself from her embrace. "I know," I replied quietly. She looked confused for a moment, then understanding dawned on her face. "You," she whispered. "You told them," I nodded. "They deserve to know the truth before marrying women who were systematically deceiving them." "How could you do that?" she demanded, her sadness instantly transforming into rage. "Those were my friends. You had no right to interfere in their relationships. The same way you and your friends had no right to lie to the men who trusted you," I responded calmly. "I did what my conscience required. Those men deserved to know who they were really committing to." "So, what about us?" she asked, her voice smaller now. "Are you here to break up with me too, Jasmine?" I said, maintaining my composure despite the storm of emotions inside me. "You were considering creating explicit content online without my knowledge. You were contemplating opening our relationship not as an honest conversation between partners, but as a way to justify cheating. You called me controlling and old-fashioned for expecting basic honesty and fidelity. What do you think is left of our relationship?" She tried every approach to change my mind. First came anger. How dare I violate her privacy and ruin her friendships? Then tears and pleading, claiming she had never actually gone through with anything and had only been talking. Next came bargaining promises to delete all her social media and cut contact with her friends. Finally, seduction, suggesting we could work through this physically. I remained resolute. The trust was irreparably broken. I could never look at her the same way again. We spent the next week disentangling our lives. I helped her find a new apartment and divided our possessions fairly. Mutual friends chose sides, some understanding my position, others believing whatever version of events Jasmine shared. I did not bother correcting misconceptions. The truth had a way of revealing itself over time. Meanwhile, the aftermath for Jasmine and her friends was severe. Their carefully constructed social media personas crumbled as rumors spread about why all 5 women had suddenly become single. Sophia lost clients who did not want to be associated with her secret activities. Amanda's family cut off her financial support when they discovered the truth. Tara lost her job at the boutique when her explicit content was discovered. Leah faced the additional consequence of a warning letter from her company about inappropriate use of social media. Their once tight friendship imploded spectacularly. Sophia blamed the others for being careless with their secret accounts. Amanda accused Leah of giving me access to their group chat. Tara claimed Sophia had pushed them all to be more extreme in their content. Leah disappeared entirely, blocking the others and moving to another city. Jasmine was left completely alone, having lost her boyfriend, her friend group, and her reputation in one catastrophic cascade of consequences. For me, the most unexpected outcome was the brotherhood that formed with the 4 ex-fiancés. What began as information sharing evolved into genuine friendship. Brian, Tyler, Mark, James, and I met regularly for drinks, dinners, or just to check in. We helped each other through the painful process of grieving relationships that had turned out to be illusions. Brian threw himself into his dermatology practice, eventually opening a second location. Tyler took a sabbatical to travel and rediscover himself. Mark expanded his contracting business and began dating again after 6 months. James moved to Seattle for a new job opportunity, but remained connected to our group through video calls and texts. As for me, I spent 6 months focusing on healing. I attended therapy to process the betrayal and examine why I had missed the signs of Jasmine's changing values. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected. I poured energy into a new project at work that eventually led to a promotion. Jasmine made several attempts to contact me in the months following our breakup. I maintained firm boundaries, responding only to practical matters related to our separation. According to mutual friends, she eventually moved back to her hometown, humbled by the experience and hopefully wiser. 6 months after everything fell apart, the 5 of us brothers, as we now called ourselves, gathered at my new lakeside apartment for a barbecue. As we stood on the balcony watching the sunset over Lake Michigan, Brian raised his beer bottle in a toast. "To truth," he said solemnly. "It hurts like hell sometimes, but it sets you free." We clinked our bottles in agreement. Though brought together by betrayal, our friendship had become about much more than shared trauma. We had supported each other through the darkest moments and celebrated small victories along the way. The experience taught me invaluable lessons. I learned to trust my instincts when something feels wrong in a relationship. I recognized the power of toxic influence and how even good people can be swayed by the wrong crowd. Most importantly, I discovered that integrity is non-negotiable in relationships. When I eventually began dating again, I approached relationships with clearer boundaries and a better understanding of my own values. I became better at recognizing red flags and addressing concerns directly, rather than hoping they would resolve themselves. Today, I am grateful for the painful revelation that ended my relationship with Jasmine. Without it, I might have married someone who did not truly share my values. I might have built a life on a foundation of lies. Instead, I gained clarity, personal growth, and unexpected brotherhood. Sometimes losing what you thought you wanted leads you to what you actually need. In my case, losing a girlfriend who was wrong for me led to gaining 4 brothers who understand the value of loyalty and truth. That seems like a fair trade to me. Have you ever had to make a difficult choice between protecting someone's feelings and revealing an uncomfortable truth? What would you have done in my situation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear that standing up for your values is always worth it, even when it hurts. Thank you for listening, and remember that sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most meaningful beginnings.